Alright, now that you have your rear lower suspension arms all trimmed up, we're going to go ahead and install the balls into the little round ends here. It's very simple to do. Again, HPI has provided the tool to help us out, and you are going to need a large pair of channel locks. If you don't have a large pair of channel locks, you may try to use a vise, and you'll see how it works as we go along. The ball number that we're going to use on that is 86425, and there's two of those. We took those out of our bag A. And the tool is very simple to use. As you look at the tool, you'll notice that it has three legs on it. If you take a look holding it up in this position, you're going to see that there's a small cutout in one of those portions. Or you can look on the bottom, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little arrow on one of the legs. If you're using the tool by the arrow, you're going to hold the tool like this with the arrow facing backwards, or the cutout in between these two legs facing forward. Going to take the A-arm and you're going to set it down so that the legs go right over the A-arm, just like that, and it sits flush. At this point, we're going to go ahead and slide a ball over the post and lay it down right on top of the hole. It's very simple. And we're going to grab, see if I can do this without dropping it and holding it up to the camera. We're going to go ahead and grab our channel lock, and we've opened it up fairly wide. What we want to do is put it onto the assembly like so that you're fairly flat on both ends. And you want to make sure that you're grabbing the ball all the way across the top, as you can see here. And at this point, just going to squeeze, and the ball is going to pop right in, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tool, and now our ball is in. It should be loose. It should not be binding up at all. It's very simple to do. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process again on the second arm. We're going to look for the notch that is in between the two legs. Going to have that stick forward. Going to hold it on. Going to drop the ball onto the post. Going to use our channel lock. Going to line them up flat as possible, like so. We're going to go ahead and squeeze the handle, and the ball pops right in. We'll remove the tool, and we have play in the ball. Okay, very simple. Go ahead and get that going. And while you're getting that done, we're going to go ahead and get set up for the next step in the tutorial. Alrighty, we're all set to go now. What we're going to do for one quick tiny moment here is talk about C-clips. A lot of people don't know, but there's actually a front side and a rear side to a C-clip, and it's important that you put it on the proper way. If you examine the C-clip closely, one side of it is going to be rounded on the face, and the other side is going to be sharp. Due to the way that they're manufactured, they're punched out of a sheet of steel. And what you want to do is always look for the rounded edge on the C-clip, and you're going to install that towards the piece that it rides against or is most likely to rub or grab. If it's rounded on that edge, then it's going to slide rather than grabbing and popping off. And believe it or not, it does make a difference. So we're going to go ahead and install our C-clips onto one end of the shafts, and we're going to install this particular one on the back side of the shaft. So when we put the shaft in, it's actually going to go from the back in. And it rides against the A-arm, so we're actually going to put the rounded spot or portion of the C-clip to the inside. So we're going to examine it, find the rounded end, and we're going to install the C-clip on the end here. Sometimes the littlest things can be the most difficult, so bear with me here. I'm just going to use a pair of needle nose pliers and squeeze this on like so. Whenever you put a C-clip on, go ahead and rotate it just to make sure that it's fully seated. So we've got one on, we're going to go ahead and do the other side. And we're looking for the rounded portion. The rounded side is going to go towards the inside. And again, we're just going to use our needle nose pliers. Put that little puppy on. Rotate it to make sure it's set properly. And we're ready. We're going to install the A-arms onto the front bulkhead assembly. It doesn't matter which arm goes on which side. That's a universal arm, which is nice. If you buy a set, if you happen to break one, you can use it on either side and you still have an extra spare. What you do want to make sure is that the shock mounting portion goes down. At this point, we're very simply going to slip the legs right over this portion of the bulkhead, and the holes are going to line up. We're going to grab one of our rods and we're going to wiggle it and go ahead and slide it on in until it comes out the other side, just like so. One thing that you're going to want to watch out for is any binding. You're going to want to hold your leg up and it should fall down under its own weight. If in fact it is binding a little bit, what you're going to want to do, and I actually had to do them on these just a little bit, is remove a little bit of the material from the inside portion. You can use your hobby knife, you can use a file. In my case, I have a small bench grinder, and I just held it up to the wheel and grinded just the smallest amount off. Put them on, check them again, because you don't want to take too much off. That's actually taking too much off is worse than having too much on. So we're going to go ahead and install the second side. Again, we're going to slide the shaft in from the back, push it all the way forward until it comes out the front. At this point, we're going to install the brace. And again, that was in your bag A. And for the brace, what we want to do is, you'll notice that there's a notch in one portion. That notch is going to go down, and we're going to slide the brace right over the hinge pins just like so. That's what it looks like up close. There's enough space left in here to get your C-clips on, so make sure that if for some reason it's not sticking all the way through with enough, look on the back, go ahead and push it forward, and there should be plenty of free space there to put your C-clips on. I like to pull it down just a little bit so that the C-clip edges are even. It just makes it a little bit easier to put the C-clips on. At this point, what I do is I look for the rounded edge of the C-clip, and that's going to ride against the brace. That way, as it turns, it's not going to come off. You can go ahead and set that down right on there. And let me twist this around. Working in front of a camera is a little bit different than just doing it. So we're going to go ahead and position the C-clip on there, spin it around to make sure it's properly set on, and again do the same on the second side. Look for the rounded edge. Rounded edge goes backwards towards the aluminum brace. I'm going to go ahead and clip on the C-clip. Alright. Again, we're going to check the, there should be a little bit of play back and forth on the rod. It's not that big of a deal. It's like that on all of them. It's not going to bother anything. What we want to do again is check on both sides to make sure that there's no binding. And each one of the arms should fall down under its own weight. Okay, that's it. You've successfully completed page 11.